Jenna Jackson. Director.
Hannah Overton.
Larry Overton.
Cynthia Orr.
Jerry Goldstein.
Anthony Jackson.
Well, welcome. Thank you guys all for coming here to Dallas. You guys are part of the Texas category this year. How are you feeling having your film in the festival?
We feel great. We love DIF. We had a film here 2 years ago, and it was one of the best experiences as a filmmaker to have a community of people. Tomato Republic was our film, and so we love it. We came back. We were happy that they let us back in, and we think we had. It was a different story, a different type of story this time, and Tomato Republic was a fun adventure, but this was a really important one. So we're glad to share it with the DIF community.
So how did you begin approaching the Overton story? This has been such a massive case in Texas for the past 10 years now. How did you even begin that conversation?
I was working for Katie Couric at the time and did a shorter piece on it and just got kind of obsessed with this story, and we're very good friends with Pamela Koloff at Texas Monthly, who wrote the story on this case, and so she's an executive producer on the film and interviewed throughout. She sort of introduced us, and we said to them, we really feel like your story needs a full documentary to tell it, and we had no idea how right we were. It was hard to tell it in 2 hours, so it was amazing.
Now, when did this process begin? Because the conviction was not overturned too long ago.
About a year ago. Mm-hmm. It began when I got a phone call from Hannah's trial lawyers, really tough guys, grizzled, hard, fought men in the courtroom, calling me on the phone on a conference call crying, and I thought, oh my God, what is going on with this? And they said, Hannah Overton, our client, has been wrongly convicted of murder, sent to prison for life, and we need your help. And so Jerry, our firm, has a very long tradition, a proud tradition of pro bono work. We got involved from the appeal and took it from the appeal on up on a pro bono basis. And the picture the media had painted her locally was a horrible woman who beat the hell out of her 4-year-old child and killed him. And it was just such a wrong picture. It was so false, and I knew we had to come in and help, and we were able to. And then with the important work of the Fourth Estate, the media and documentary filmmakers that pay attention and care about sticking around for 4 years to find out the final result in a story, to tell such an important message that I hope will have a hard and long-ranging impact on how the public and prosecutors and police officers view criminal cases, that with caution, I hope, in the future, so we don't separate a mom from her family for 5 years. I mean, it's for 7 years, what am I saying? And I'm thinking of 5 children, and make Larry Mr. Mom and the head of the household, and for that period of time. And I've got to say, Hannah too was an inspiration. She's the first and only client that sent encouraging letters to me when we got bad news, and I thought, what is going on here? That's the shoes on the other foot. So amazing Christian couple, and with an amazing faith that I think played a big part in it as well.
Now, I noticed that you're all wearing small buttons that say number 1478117. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, that's my wife's Texas offender identification number while she was in prison. One of the interesting things about that is typically when someone comes out of prison, it's wanting to put that behind you and move on with your life. But my wife's chosen, and we've chosen to identify with that so that we can carry on the ministry to those women in there, so that they're not forgotten. We choose to remember ours and carry on the ministry.
Now, Hannah, I can't imagine what you've been through with the case and horrible, horrible grief of the initial incident. What made you want to get involved with the documentary crew? I mean, did you ever think I'd rather just leave this in a box as much as I could?
when media first started contacting me, I did feel that way. But by the time they got to me, I had a little bit more faith that there was good media out there. And, we had met Jenna through Katie Couric and knew that she really did care about the truth coming out, and we wanted the truth to come out.
Now, there have been a few huge convictions overturned recently. I'm from Austin, and so Mr. Morton's case has been the one that's kind of been in the public eye. What is it that these are suddenly coming to trial? There seems to be a lot of connections between these cases, the kind of the witch hunt prosecution type stories.
Well, we were involved in the Michael Morton case as well, and Michael and Hannah and Larry are friends.
Michael's arriving tomorrow, so that's very special.
And I think the connection is people are starting to figure out that police don't always tell the truth. We can't always trust the prosecutors or the judges, and so we need to be a part of the process as well. And as jurors, stand as a real protection between the state and the accused and really do the job. You're not there to help the prosecutor fill in the gaps in their case. If there are gaps, they probably don't have a case. And so I think that people are starting to realize, wait a minute, we need to police the system as well. And like I said, I can't say it enough. It's the media, it's documentary filmmakers and investigative reporters like Jenna and Anthony that have brought it to light, and finally it's come home to roost and people are believing it and putting their hearts in it and becoming involved as they should. So that's really gratifying.
Now, Anthony, she mentioned you. So when you're approaching, I don't want to say a subject because you're two people and you're right here in front of me, but when you're approaching the story like Hannah and Larry's, like I said, this is a 10-year-old case. There's so much material, and you mentioned it was impossible to tell it all in 2 hours. So as a filmmaker, how did you approach that?
So I think we have a great team, and we had to wrestle a lot. But I think what we honed in on was how do we tell the story that the most honest and the most people will relate to, and there's a lot of rabbit holes and a lot of trails in this, legal things and other things, but what affected us the most, I always tell people, they say, like, what is this story? I say, it's Mother Teresa who was doing everything right, adopting a child who needed it, and she got put in prison. So if that can happen to her, it can happen to any of us. And so that was the point, I think, that we held on to throughout the story. And then also just our system, you mentioned that this is happening a lot. Our system is built on this golden thread of innocence, and it's an amazing thing. But I think we're waking up to the reality that maybe while we've slept and comfortably in we're not innocent until proven guilty. That if you're arrested, we automatically as a public assume, we place too much trust in our officials. We assume that they must have done something wrong. And so for us, it was just a personal journey of, we met Hannah and Larry, and they're amazing people. And we met Cynthia and Jerry, and it was just a journey of how could we not tell the story that captured the most people's hearts, that telling their story in a way that the most people could relate to and see that if they could be Hannah, just look in a mirror and recognize that you can be in jail for nothing or doing what's right. So,
absolutely. Exposing wrongdoing is a trademark of journalism and the media, but there's wrongdoing on both sides. And I think what they have done is to put some balance in the picture. The sensational aspects of Hannah's case that began was a very one-sided process. And thanks to these two, we now have the full picture. And it exposes wrongdoing on the other side, the one that we always trust and that we have faith in that protects us every day. Turns out to be the process that actually engages in the real crime in this case, which is convicting an innocent person. And her youngest child was nursing when they took her away, imprisoned her for 7 years without the ability to touch her children. It's a very moving story that I'm proud to have a small part in, but these folks, particularly Cynthia for her tenacity and diligence, but also Jenna and Anthony for bringing it to light and exposing it to the public so we can see the real picture of a process that is a wonderful process. It's probably the best in the world, but it has flaws. And we need to keep the Fourth Estate, like you guys, on top of it to make sure that it's honest and understands the search for truth is a two-way street.
I just wanted to mention two things. One is one of our team isn't here. He couldn't be here. John Rayleigh did a wonderful job with us, really a stand-up guy. And the other thing is that what's most remarkable is after leaving prison, a couple months later, Hannah went right back in to visit the very inmates that she left. And what she and Larry were talking about, not leaving that behind, is she's wearing a ring that she had made that says, bound with them, based on a scripture that says, remember those in prison as if you are bound with them. And her inmate number is inside. And what they've done is established a home for women transitioning out of prison to transition back into society. So these are loving, giving people that before all this happened did the right thing for others and continue to do so afterwards. It's Syndejo Ministries?
SYNDEO.
SYNDEO Ministries, and they're about to open your home, aren't you? You've got it.
Yes, we're hoping by this summer that we'll be able to take our first ladies in. So.
Isn't that amazing?
It is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible story. And I need to let you guys go, but I just wanted one more question. As someone who's not a parent, I can't imagine losing a child. If you had known the way that things were going to go, would that have stopped you going down the adoption route?
No, I don't think so. We really felt like that we were led to adopt our son, and we had a few months with him. They were the last few months of his life, and you can't pass that up. I mean, he was able to have what he always wanted in a family and someone who accepted him and loved him, which is what we did. So as painful as it was for us, I wouldn't change it.
He said everything I was getting ready to say, so I wouldn't change it.
Well, congratulations on the film. Congratulations on everything. Hope to see you guys again.
Thank you.